Good evening, friends. I'm your host HB, and welcome to my knowledge imparting channel. This will be my first knowledge imparting video, and I have chosen OCEMS, which is Online Continuous Emission Monitoring System. As many of my colleagues and members of health, safety, and environment fraternity across the country have some doubts about it. So it's just an attempt from my side, to explain about the main elements of OCMS and hope that most of the doubts will be cleared. Let's get started. Coming to the introduction. There was a notification which was released by CPCB, that is Central Pollution Control Board of India, about installation of online continuous emission monitoring for STP and waste treatment plants across India. It was released on 7th of August 2020, which directed the requirement of installation of OCMS. Now, almost all STP and ETPs are covered under the guidelines, and it has a detailed description about the same. Even the notification is applicable to all, STP ETPs in operation, including municipal STPs. So let's move to the next slide. List of probable vendors for installation. Now, when this notification was released, there are a few vendors whose name were, and listed in the list of suppliers of sensors, because when we install this OCMS, there will be some sensors which will be, as an interface with CPCB servers, from where, from an organization to the CPCB server, the online monitoring will happen, like the STP parameters and all, the ETP parameters and all. So these are the vendors, few vendors. You can get in contact with them to know about it, and I'm sure that they will also clear lots of the doubt, and they will give you the prerequisite, what are the pre-requirements for installation, then post installation, what are the things that we need to do, how it will be, integrated with CPCP portal and all. So let's not talk about those parameters, because I think every industry will have their own requirements, and once they reach out to this vendors, they will get more clarity in this training, or you can say in this information slides. I would be talking about the elements, wherein a few doubts on what OCMS is and how it will work, and what are the alerts and all. So I have included those in this topic today. So once the OCMS is installed, there are few requisites, like the organization need to create their credentials at CPCB website. Of course, there will be one or two nodal person from the organization who will be having the username and password and all, where they could notify various things, like any reason for discontinuity of OCMS, for example, during maintenance of STP, or due to any other process deviation for which the OCMS is not working. So we need to notify to CPCB. So how we need to do that? So it's like they have a portal wherein you'll have your login ID and password, and you can put in that the OCMS will be not operating from for example December 2022 to January 2023 due to some maintenance activities. So in that particular time, of course, the server will be online, but whatever the readings will be there, it won't be considered by CPCB. The manager usually coordinates for the go live and online monitoring through parent organization nodal person. And once you have installed and you have done everything, it would take around 2 to 3 weeks, to have that integration with CPCB. And once they notify you, when I say they, means CPCB notifies you that yes, everything is fine, and it's go live, right? Now details about OCMS, how the data flows. Um, of course, access will be CPCB data by login to CPCB website, and then from OCMS there are two data flow. One is to the CPCB server, so from the CPCB server it will go to the CPCB and SPCB industrial representative. For example, if there is a parameter of COD, so it will go directly to the CPCB server, and then from the CPCB server if there is any alert or something is like that, it will again come back to CPCB and the SPCB as well as the industrial representative, which is the organization which has installed this OCMS. Now, there is one point where you can see here that SPCB OCMS monitoring cell. Now, what I would particularly talk about Karnataka. So the server is a CPCB server. It is in the CPCB. There is no server in SPCB. What the SPCB is doing, they have an OCMS monitoring cell. So they will have the access to the CPCB server also. So any alert that comes into CPCB, they can view it. And of course, there's a process of having an email and SMS alert through CPCB to the SPCB, So both things are there. So right now in Karnataka, there is no server wherein directly from the organization to the SPCB. In case of Karnataka, it's Karnataka State Pollution Control Board. That there is no server in Pollution Control Board right now in Karnataka. So it will go directly to CPCB server. However, there is an OCMS monitoring cell at SPCB, which will be having all the detail access, of the CPCB server. Second line, when you see, when we say the tech provider server, that is the vendor, whoever has installed the OCMS at our site. So one data flow goes to the CPCB server, the other data flow goes to the tech provider, the vendor. So from where we can, for example, the organization, if I am installing OCMS at my site, I can get the internal alerts as per requirement. So for example, if COD is 50 mg, and I want that in my STP, once the 60% of 50 mg per liter is exceeded, I should get a notification so that my team can work on, I mean to say, when the limit is closer to the exceedance limit, I can get an alert. So that can be done, that can be modified, for example, is 50 COD is the limit. I keep one alert at 45 or maybe 40 so that I get an alert and I can proactively act on those CMS details and act on the process, what is being deviated, that my COD level is nearing to accidents. So that is the plus point of this OCMS. However, even if when we say that all the details will be going to CPCB server, there's a very good amount of chance, or you can say amount of limits are there where we can work on and we can avoid accidents. So that I'll discuss in the next slide. Yeah, so coming to the CPCB alerts, types and details, there are 4 types of alerts: yellow category, orange, red, and purple. So the criticality is like, once we move from yellow towards orange and then towards purple, the criticality of the non-compliances increases. That means if it's a purple alert, it's the highest criticality, and the action plan should be, more, you can say, faster, or maybe we should respond in a very efficient way so that there is no issue from CPCB. I'll just go through each alert one by one, stating one example, from each alert level. So any organization will receive an yellow alert when these 4 conditions are being there. For example, any last 8 accidents for 15-minute average beyond 40% of the statutory limit. Now, I'll just quote an example. We know that COD limit is 50 mg per liter. So, for example, the COD of my STP goes to 70, because 40% of 50 is 20. So 50 plus 20 is 70. So instead of 50, I'm getting 70, and that has occurred 8 times. There are 8 accidents, and which has occurred for a period of 15-minute average. That means 15 minutes continuous accidents of 40% of the statutory limit for 8 times. Then we will get an alert from CPCB. So the accidents detail will deliver one alert to CPCB, and CPCB will send an alert to our SPCB as well as to the organization. That means if the COD is 70 for 8 accidents, 15-minute average. Now, second point is more than 8 consecutive 15-minute average accident beyond 100% of statutory limit. Now, when we say beyond 100% means if 50 is the COD and it is 100, it reaches 100, and then there is 8 consecutive. So first one is 8 accidents. It can happen at any time throughout the day for 15-minute average, but for 8 accidents. However, the second point is saying about 8 consecutive 15-minute average. That means 8 times one after the other it has stayed on 100, that is COD is 100, which is 100% of the statutory limit. In that case, we will get an escalation from CPCB as an non-compliance or as an alert. So like that, if you go to orange, when more than 36 yellow alerts are issued during any 30-day moving period, so all these alert will give, for example, in the yellow category, if any of one of the alert which has been generated 36 times in 30-day moving period, then that will convert the yellow alert to orange. Similarly, if I go to red, when more than 72 alerts are issued, so you can see the criticality, right? So on each alert, there are certain actions that the organization need to take, and there are certain notification which we will receive from CPCB that I'll discuss in the upcoming slide. So similarly in the purple alert, 144 yellow alert. So I've just taken one example, wherein I have discussed about COD. So you can see on the orange it is like 36 yellow alerts. Then in the red it is 72 yellow alerts, and then purple it is 144 yellow alerts. Now this alert and rules are very important. If we go through each of them and we prepare a prevention plan where we can keep the highest limit. For example, we can have the detailing of all the alerts, and we develop our own plan proactively. For example, as I have spoken earlier in the earlier slide, that there is a possibility that we can get the alerts as per our requirement from the vendor. So for example, COD is 50. So if I say that give me an alert, internal alert from the vendor side, that if my COD reaches 40, I should be notified, and the STP operator should be notified, and the STP manager should be notified. And then within few days, if it is not resolved, then we can move ahead with the escalating to it towards our top management also if it is not solvable. So actually, this OCEMS system has given us the benefit of preparing our own plan to so that we will not land up into any legal non-compliances, and in the same way we can have an efficient system at our site. So this slide is self-explanatory, and you can see what's an yellow alert is. It's a level 1, and what are the actions that the organization need to do. So there are two parts, right? There might be a technical glitch due to which this alert has come. Maybe the OCMS is not working. Maybe the power supply has gone off. In that case, we have to inform the CPCB that through a mail, and that there is certain technical glitch has happened due to which the details are not being reflected on the CPCB server. So if there is an alert on accidents, and then in that case also we need to check in the process system that why this is exceeded. So for example, 8 accidents, so we need to prepare the prevention plan and we need to send it across to CPCB. This action is common with all the levels, only the criticality increases. For example, in orange alert also it's the same case. However, the emphasis is more on the note. You can see organization need to submit reply to CPCB SPCB through mail. So one is we need to, in any case, we need to respond to CPCB on orange alert or on yellow alert. However, it's a separate line which has been put in the orange alert that the reply should be submitted to CPCB. Similarly in the red alert also, and then when we go to purple alert, which is the highest category, right? Wherein they are saying their organization need to submit reply to CPCB through mail, followed by physical verification by SPCB and CPCB, whichever is applicable. So even the CPCB SPCB action, you can say auto-generated letter seeking explanation within 15 days. So based on the alert, we will be receiving the notification from CPCB SPCB, and we need to act accordingly, right? And in case of purple alert, we have to prepare a consolidated root cause analysis and action taken on this, and we shall be submitting it to SPCB CPCB. So now there are 4 alerts which I have explained. The best thing is with OCMS we can have a system of our own. The monitoring will be more efficient. So I think with this system, both the efficiency of the STP as well as the compliance part will be taken care of. So we can work towards the a continual improvement of our STP TP's waste management system on a whole, so that we are as an organization, as an industry, we are also contributing towards environment conservation, and we are minimizing the environment pollution aspects and their impacts. So in that way, actually this system is very helpful and useful for us. Now there are some important elements which whenever we have a vendor, right, who have installed and who have done all the installations, we need to check on what are the requirements post installation. So you can see calibration and data validation is very important. pH calibration, the frequency is given that once in every week we need to have, or specified by the manufacturer. So for example, the OCMS manufacturer is saying, okay, the calibration should happen maybe in 4 days, or maybe twice a week. So that should be considered, whichever is earlier, right? Similarly, temperature, TSS, COD, everything, every frequency is given, and these are all given in the SOPs as well as the other documentation which is available in the CPCB website. So in the last slide, I'll be showing you, I'll be flashing you the website wherein you'll get all the details regarding OCMS. Why I'm putting these important elements? Because through my experience, what we can see that once the OCMS was installed, and then the details are going to CPCB, everything is fine. We are doing monitoring. Our team is, checking all the parameters. If any alert is there, which is the internal alerts, we have created our own internal alerts. Then we work on it. So that is fine. But then we should also consider what are the other requirements, because in our case we have found that on that part we were complacent. When we did the OCMS applicability check, wherein we have taken all the details from CPCB website, and then we've created our own audit check sheet. Then we have found that the calibration part was not up to the mark. So that's why I have included this, because once the OCMS is installed, it's not that the work is done. Okay, we have a prevention plan for the deviation and all, but also the OCMS have their own requirements, and that we should not forget, because CPCB can come and they can inspect, and they can even ask, and it's a requirement. If you see in the red color font, the data along with diagnostic and calibration details should be transmitted to CPCB and SPCB servers. So whatever the calibration has been done, we need to provide this information to CPCB and SPCB as per a scheduled frequency, right? Even in operation and maintenance part, there are daily checks, monthly and periodic checks. All these parameters need to be done, implemented at site, and it should be recorded. And whenever CPCB and SPCB guys, they ask us, we need to provide them these details. Now there was a like in our case, we had an issue. There is some maintenance activity that need to happen in one of our site, where we need to work on the STP. In that case, we knew that the deviation might happen. So as I said earlier, there's a process wherein you will get your credentials. So there, when we log in, there's an option where we can click and we can say in advance, that from tomorrow onwards, or maybe take one X date, from X to Y date, our STP maintenance is there, and so therefore whatever the OCMS is there, it won't be giving the correct values, or our STP is not being operated right now. So in that case, we have to go to this portal and we have to submit in advance the reason, industry under shutdown, seasonal closure, or OCMS under maintenance. So if we don't do that, and if there's a delay in information, it might be treated as violation, and then we might get a notification from CPCB. So this is very important. And sometimes what happens when we do all this installation through our vendors, we don't check all the other requirements. So it's very important to know the other parts also. So what will happen when the maintenance is going on? What will happen if there is a natural calamity like flooding and all? Anything can happen, right? Which can impact our STP. So we need to be sure about what to do, and we need to intimate to CPCB whenever we get a chance. Important references. So this is the website where you can go and check. There are too many documents, and each document when you open, it has given a detailed understanding. So there is an SOP on this. There is a what are the how it should be connected, and what are the prerequisites. Everything is given. So my main motive is to just give you an overview of this OCMS, just to know about it and also know the details of the vendors and all. In case there is any other questions, any queries, kindly comment, and I will respond as soon as possible. And moving on, thanks. This was my first video on this topic, and I hope that I'll continue. And please do subscribe this channel, because I'm doing this above what my job asks. It's like I'm working for an organization. Why I'm doing this, in EHS fraternity, we need to be practical. We can have any kind of trainings, online trainings, and then face-to-face trainings. We can read books and all, but then it's very important to know the practical things, like the OCMS, right? Like any notification. So my next topic, maybe it will be on plastic waste management, which has been released recently, because there are confusions, and then this confusion is because everyone is overloaded, and we don't get time to go through the details of websites, or which are the notifications, what are the requirements of notification. But if I am doing these things at my site in a very proper way, I would like to share this with everyone so that it becomes easy for everyone. So that is my goal. That's why do subscribe the channel, and thank you very much.